Ladies and gents, welcome back. At some point, there will be another election here in Canada, and unless somehow Justin Trudeau or the Liberals get rid of Justin Trudeau in order to get a victory there, Pierre Poilievre is likely going to be the next Prime Minister of Canada. And in a recent talk from former Prime Minister Stephen Harper, he laid out, well, exactly just that he will be the next Prime Minister of Canada in his beliefs, but says that he shouldn't really lay out what he would like to do as Prime Minister until there's officially a campaign going on. We'll look at this clip here.
Your job today, broadly speaking, indicate a direction you're going to go, but it's not to talk about how you would run the country. It is to hold the government accountable for how it is running the country and making it where it's mismanagement, incompetence, and corruption. That's the job. And I really worry, and I know the people say develop the plans, develop the proposals, but I worry that that's what the Liberal media here wants Pierre Poilievre to do. Make himself the issue, let them hold him accountable, for his while the government continues on what I think is, for the most part, a pretty poor course, and they're off the hook. The time to tell people about your alternatives in detail is in an election campaign. And look, what's important though is, while you're not talking about those details now, you better be developing them in the meantime. And I can tell you from experience, once you get into office, you better have some idea then what you're going to do, because it ain't going to fall into your lap. And look, unfortunately,
Ain't going to balance itself, you mean?
Unfortunately, when Pierre becomes the next Prime Minister, and I believe that's going to happen, he's going to face. I was very fortunate, I was one of the rare Conservative Prime Ministers in 100 years who came to office when things were actually pretty good. And I don't think Pierre is going to come in under those kind of circumstances.
No, and we have a Prime Minister right now that we can thank for those circumstances in general. We really can do. Now, from the Globe and Mail, it said Mr. Harper tells the Conservative opposition leaders that they should not be saying how they would run the country, but rather be making the government wear its mismanagement, corruption, and incompetence. That's the job. And while many people on social media have been absolutely taking up that task on their own, we have Vesper D. He's been making it his mission until Justin Trudeau is gone from office, just showing exactly that, all of the mismanagement and just lies and corruption that's been going on with this government.
I have the wrong priorities.
I'll tell you what I'm not ready for.
We will balance the budget in 2019.
A commitment to grow the economy, and the budget will balance itself.
He said the budget will balance itself. He has no idea what he is talking about.
I couldn't agree more.
This will be the Trudeau government's fourth budget.
I couldn't agree more.
That has meant larger than promised deficits and an abandoned pledge to balance the books.
I'm going to make fixing those problems job one.
You know, I don't think it's much of a mystery what our priorities are.
I have the wrong priorities.
The year he said he guaranteed that Canada would have a balanced budget with a $1 billion surplus, deficit turned out to be $26.6 billion.
Because my priority is I have the wrong priorities.
Poverty is sexist.
And there's no shortage of blunders from this Prime Minister of Canada. It's a wonder how he got in the first place with his woke agendas and all of this. But you look back at some of the promises that are given, and you can see why possibly people would get hooked into this. I mean, here's one of the many promises on his campaign trail that he brought out to people.
We'll put an end to secrecy and closed doors in Ottawa. Our plan will give Canadians a more transparent and fair government. It will mean bringing real change to the Senate by eliminating partisanship and political patronage without bogging down the country in unnecessary constitutional battles.
Well, that sounds like a great promise for today. I mean, this is obviously not what they brought to the table for us here in Canada. No, the Liberals have brought in, under Justin Trudeau, much more opacity, I guess you could call it. No, everything's, you look at anything that's come out of them, they cry cabinet confidence. They don't want to share any of the information, and they're plagued with scandal after scandal after scandal. And now we're looking at this election scandal and some of the stuff that's going on, not just with Justin Trudeau, but his members of his cabinet. And recently, well, we had one member that got kicked off of his cabinet, and that would be Han Dong, one that CSIS, our own CIA equivalent, warned Trudeau not to keep in office. And well, Pierre Poilievre is tuning in on that.
Fed in doggy bowls that were slid under their door, going 8 months without seeing consular support. Yet according to
talking about the Michaels, and we'll get into who they are.
Global News, a Liberal MP allegedly contacted the Chinese consulate and encouraged them to delay the release of these two Michaels for partisan Liberal gain. The intelligence services that came up with this information to the media would have told the Prime Minister. When did they tell him?
The Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me be clear.
Just so you know, this is Melanie Joly. She's in there talking on behalf of the Prime Minister because he was a no-show ahead of time for when Joe Biden came to visit. This is one of his responsibilities to answer in question period to the Canadian public, but he's skirted this responsibility several times.
Bringing back the two Michaels, Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor, was the utmost priority of this government, of all members of this House, of all Canadians across the country. For 2 years, we've worked tirelessly to make sure that these two Michaels, which were arbitrarily detained by China, would be coming back safe home. That's what we did, and that was the only priority. Thinking otherwise is actually false.
Well, we're not just thinking otherwise. This is a National Post article saying that, and this is about Han Dong, the disgraced Liberal MP who stepped down from the Liberal Party. Now, he still has his job. He is the MP of his constituency, but he is no longer part of the Liberal Party. He is acting as an independent. The intelligence leak alleging that MP Han Dong advised China to delay the release of Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor are outrageous, but also entirely plausible. These leaks, which suggest that Dong's motivation was to undermine the Conservatives to the benefit of Beijing, underline the need for a full, transparent public inquiry into China's influence campaigns. Now, later, the article goes on to talk about some of the details. However, according to Canada's Security Intelligence, CSIS, report leaks to Global News, Han Dong, who until yesterday was a Liberal MP, advised China's Toronto Consul General in February 2021 that Beijing should delay freeing the two Michaels, that it would benefit the Conservatives. Dong admits the meeting happened, but denies advising the delay of the Spavor and Kovrig. CSIS leaks published by the Globe and Mail last month alleged that Beijing had been desperate to keep the Conservatives out of power. So, not benefiting the Conservatives was of their purview. So this is why these conversations were going on. Going so far as to extensively meddle in Canada's elections because it believes that the Liberals are far more accommodating of China's interests. And if that's not a scandal, I don't know what is. But let's hear the response from the Conservative MP.
Leader of the Opposition.
We have two members of our national security services that have told the media that a Liberal MP told the Chinese not to release the two Michaels. I've now twice asked when the Prime Minister, his office, or his department were informed of this startling revelation. So I'm going to ask a third time, and I ask the Minister to answer. When did the Prime Minister become aware of these allegations? When?
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, September 24th, 2021 was a great day for Canada. It was the day when the two Michaels, Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor, came back safely home to Canada. And I think it was a day when this government, all members of this House, all Canadians were proud of what we've done, because indeed the two Michaels were arbitrarily detained for too long in China. And Mr. Speaker, this will always be our priority as a government. We will always stand up against any form of arbitrary detention in state-to-state relations.
Forgive us if we don't believe you. And well, I'd love to let you guys put your comments in the comment section down below. Do you believe the MPs when they stand up and say that despite the revelations of what happened with one of their own MPs, that they actually cared and they wanted to push this, and they didn't have personal or political agendas ahead of Canadian citizens that were being arbitrarily detained in China in what has been described as torturous conditions? Now, this is enough to call for no confidence and have the government go right into an election here and now. But no, here we are going through another scandal with the Liberal government and having no recourse for that. Anyway, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.